Welcome to Reboot with Dr. Arasi Maran. I'm your host, Dr. Arasi Maran. I'm a board certified interventional cardiologist with over a decade of experience. Though I deal with aggressive coronary artery disease in one end of my life, most of my life, the other end, I would like to focus on education and empowerment of everyone so that you all can make science based decisions and choices for your fitness and for your health. With that, today we have a fantastic guest with us. I have Miss Sheba Devaraj. She is the founder of Creed Strength and Conditioning Studio in Chennai, India. She's an ACE certified personal trainer, CrossFit Level 2 trainer, a national gold medalist in weightlifting, a state level powerlifting champion, and an all round badass in the world of fitness. She is here to shatter myths, inspire action, and help us understand why strength training is the absolute game changer for everyone, especially women of all ages. With that, Sheba, welcome to the show, and I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Arasi. I'm really thrilled to be part of this.
So, Shiva, tell us a little bit about your journey. Like, how did you get into strength training and coaching and all these gold medals? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, if you look at my background, I've never been a sporty person in school, so nobody would recognize me that way. But down the line, I think as I kind of got older, I wanted to pick something that will help me kind of ease my mind out. So I took on running for a bit. So I started to run a lot, and then during that phase, I kind of hit a couple of podiums, and I thought that's it. And I thought I definitely want to take on something that helped me should also help others. So I kind of moved on to fitness while I was holding a job and started studying to be a trainer that way. And from then on, there's just no looking back. I moved out of a 9 to 5 job and started training full time. So that's how it started. And then 5 years ago, I started my own studio.
Fantastic, fantastic. Clearly, the running bug, when it bites, it bites. I think, we have another friend of ours who's all into running and she does marathon. I'm talking about my older guest, Dr. Uma Mohanasundaram. She's a pulmonologist. I did a podcast with her on lung diseases. She's the chief of pulmonary critical care, but has hit all the major marathons across the world pretty much. So, I have tried the running bug and it never worked out for me. So, clearly, fitness is not cookie size fits all, and different people for different things get them started. But how about I feel like even though the running bug never bit me, the strength training bug was a whole different issue altogether. And I feel like the strength training component, especially in women, is kind of overlooked. What are your thoughts?
I guess now I wouldn't say it's overlooked. I think there is a bit of awareness, though there can be a little bit more. People have a lot of apprehensions when you say lift weights, but they also do understand the necessity to lift weights, which is actually a good thing. So I guess now with a little bit of awareness, strength training has gained a little bit of prominence even in India. So I just feel like it's an eye opener for a lot of women here also.
So, why do you think, strength training is as important as cardio, or maybe even a little more important than cardio? Why? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, strength training per books also, we say 80-20. Like you need 20% cardio and 80% of strength training. And why is strength training given so much of importance is that because you work on your entire like muscular structure along with your joints, your bones and everything. And for women especially, we need to be so wary of the quality of your muscle, your joint health, and your muscle quality also, and your overall health, right? So it's so important that you work on maintaining your muscle mass and also your quality of your joints and your bone health. So that's why strength training is far more important than cardio. While cardio is important for your conditioning bit, I also feel lifting weights work partly on conditioning also. So we use external resistance to induce a little bit of cardio intense workouts, and that also helps in conditioning. So I feel strength training it's proven that it works wonders for women and also for any person who's trying to get their health together. But strength training is very, very mandatory for women more than men.
you know that is absolutely true, right? I mean, we women navigate so many hormonal changes all throughout our lives. I mean, our bodies need to be ready for pregnancy, then postpartum, then perimenopause, menopause, and our bone health also struggles a little bit. I honestly wish I was a little bit more cognizant of my own physical strength, in my reproductive age, like, so that I was stronger getting pregnant and stronger during pregnancies. So let's talk about strength training in the younger age group, because the younger age group, we are young, and strength training seems like more of a chore, and getting on the treadmill and running, or getting and running outside, or biking, that seems more kind of more sexy almost for the younger women. What do you think about strength training just during in your 20s and 30s?
I think in the early 20s, people are still not sure of taking on strength training. Like you said, any other sporting activity seems far more attractive than going into a closed, enclosed space and lifting weights. However, I think in this sort of a global scenario where you have too much of like ultra processed food, and the lifestyle itself is like, there's lack of sleep, the quality of sleep has suffered, their work timings are all over the place, food is all over the place. So there is a necessity for even kids in their 20s and 30s to start strength training. And I guess it has to start with a little bit of awareness that you need to preserve your body for the later years, because they start so early, and the kind of lifestyle they're starting to lead now is going to affect them later. And for women, 40s is like a truck running over you. You just hardly know what's going on, right? By the time perimenopause hits you, you don't know what's going on. So I know for 20s, it might seem like too early to start and they're not going to think about their 40s. But even for them to prepare their bodies for the reproductive stage, I guess they need to start to sort of induce a little bit of strength training in the form of anything, group training or some sort of thing. They have to start at least to prepare themselves for their mid 30s and late 30s.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we take our bodies completely for granted in the
Yeah.
20s, and so to a certain extent, even in your 30s, and then the 40s come and you're like, what happened? Where did
Yeah.
time go? And then you are trying to reboot, etc. I mean, that's my own personal story, and I'm sure that was the story for
Yeah.
many people, because in the 20s you're like, go, 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 get this done, get that job done, get this, and then the 30s becomes all children, children, children. Making time and making space for your own strength and your own conditioning is so important. So the new year is coming around, Shiba. This podcast is going to come in December, and my own personal goal for December is to have 12 to 15 workouts in the month of December. I think that was more easier to wrap my head around. And I'm sure people are all like, oh, I'm going to wait for Jan 1st and I'm going to start afresh in Jan 1st. And my request or my recommendation is don't wait for Jan 1st. Start today. The more you push, the more negative or the bad behavior is going to get reinforced, and just start today. But either ways, let's say even if you are talking to the people who have a start date of Jan 1st in mind, what would be a realistic resolution from the fitness standpoint they could attain?
I guess first they need to prioritize what they want. See, some people have aesthetic goals and some people have goals for health. So they may need to lose weight or maintain a certain weight for their health's sake. Some want to just look good. Either ways, it's a great goal. Whatever your goal is, I think it needs to be a short term goal and something that's not too laborious to actually think about like instantly. So, for example, a short term goal as for a weight loss goal, say in 3 months, I would probably lose about 4 to 5 kgs. Is a very reasonable goal because you don't know how your 3 months is going to be. But working out consistently and eating sort of clean, maybe even 60%, will give you that result. So having a goal that is sustainable and you'll be able to stick to a goal which is not too rigid is a great way to start. So instead of saying I'm going to lose 10 kgs in 3 months and I'm going to go on this very strict no carb diet, is not going to work, because the second day after you say no carb, you're going to crave carbs. So might as
Yes.
well eat carbs and survive the 3 months and get your goal. So a smaller goal that's realistic, smaller goal that's attainable, where you think you're comfortable doing, is the best way to start with.
That's such a valuable and great advice, and it kind of aligns with everything that has been said, in the book Atomic Habits. They
Habits.
basically say you don't have to change 75% of your life to attain a goal. Even a small 1% change, which is sustainable, which is consistently done, can cause a big change. And so many of my patients have come back and, they've lost weight, and I'm like, oh my God, what have you done? And this patient said it so sweetly. Like, he said, I stopped all my S's. I'm like, what do you mean you stopped all your SS? So he said he stopped taking second servings, stopped snacking, stopped sweets, and stopped drinking soda. I was like, that's a
That's
great
great. Yeah.
way. That's
Yeah.
a great way to abbreviate, and it's a great way to at least start. And, as I said, October was a very hard month for me, and I really could not get any of my workouts done. And it kind of piled on to November. And like I could make out the difference. My body was hurting and my joints were hurting. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get back. I need to get back. While I was intentional about I need to get back, I didn't beat myself up, because I knew, Arasi, these are tough, really tough months. It's okay. Like, just get back. So that's why for the month of December, I have this goal of 12 to 15 workouts. And
Reasonable
so
goal.
far,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a small goal. And it's December 5th today, and I've done three workouts sessions so far. And I'm like, I'm happy with this. And as long
Yeah.
as I can sustain it, I'm good.
Yeah.
So realistic goals, not, and also kind of meaningful goals, right? Not saying I'm going to lose weight, but not attaching a number to that
Yeah.
a thing, and also coming out with a plan. What is your plan to? What are the steps you're going to take?
Yeah.
And I once I've done this also. Like, if March 1st is your or April 1st is your deadline, what should you do in March to attain the April, and what should you do in February to reach your March goals, and what should you do in January to reach your February goals? Kind of working back your calendar
Backwards. Yeah.
could also be a great way of thing. So again, weight loss is the most common resolution. So let's just go with that as a thing.
Yeah.
So let's accept it, right? Let's accept it. Um, would you still say 80-30, 80% strength training and 20% cardio? Is that what you would recommend? What would, if you have to
Mostly. So
decide?
if depends on the age group also. So if they're very younger population, then I give them 40% cardio and 60% strength training. 20s, 30s, early 30s is okay, but as you also age, you need more of strength work, and I add most of my conditioning within the strength work itself. So for instance, pushing an external resistance like a sled will also pump your heart rate, thereby you're getting your cardio. So I give the slightly older population cardio intense activities such as that, whereas the younger population can also do more things like run longer distances, take on more sport, and also kind of complement strength training along with that. So the percentage varies based on what age group they're in.
You touched on a very subtle point that the older they are, you kind of navigate more towards strength training and
Yeah.
with cardio in between. Why is that? Why does strength training help women, especially in their 40s and 50s, to navigate, hormonal shifts, and how does it help them?
There are two things. One is your muscle mass is decreasing as you age. So for us, it's inevitable. We need to preserve that muscle. Strength training is mandatory because your joints are also vulnerable. Your bone density could also decrease. You could get osteoporosis, whatever. So you will need to preserve in the health aspects. You will need to work on that. So for me, when I see women, I just tell them, listen, you need to lead a quality life as you age, a respectable life. For that, you need to work on just preserving what you right now have. You don't diminish what you have. So working on strength training is basically just keeping what you have and building. If you can build muscle, great. So work on building muscle, preserve your bone, joints, everything. So that way strength training is very important. The second, and I think the most more important than even this, is your mental health. I feel that when you work out, and when women, especially in their mid 30s to even later 40s, your mood is slightly very wonky at that point, and strength training really helps you keep that in check. So I've seen great results. I've seen most of the women who come to me feel great after they finish their workouts just by lifting weights,
Yeah.
and I think that's a win. And so the both are really, you can't say this is better than the other, but both your physical and your mental health are balanced when you do this.
No, absolutely right. Like, the 40s is such a number one. I think 40s is when women have realized, oh, most of the time, most women are done with their childbearing in their 30s, and 40s is almost like time for themselves. So that's number one. I think that's a, great time to kind of catch hold of your health. And number two, the perimenopause is such a new space for us, and it's so and we don't understand it. Only now the awareness for
Yeah.
hormone replacement and for everything is coming. And I think, you talked about osteoporosis, and the other big thing is our insulin resistance changes
Yeah.
dramatically in our perimenopausal time. While cardio is great for overall conditioning, and cardio can also help mood and all, but strength training changes your metabolism. Don't you agree with
Yes.
that? Like,
Yeah.
the more muscle you build, the more afterburn you get, and
Yes.
and it allows your insulin resistance to, or your insulin sensitivity to, get some balance. And osteoporosis is such a common, the most common cause of death in the elderly is falls, and
Yes.
learning how to fall is so important in this age group. I also feel, while we talk about 40s and 50s and stuff like that, there is a large population of both men and more specifically women who feel like they've missed the boat. Oh, I'm too old for any sort of exercise, oh my, and who have this martyr complex almost. My life has been, they've been, caregivers all through their lives, and now almost feel guilty or feel awkward about going to the gym, or feel awkward about taking time for themselves. What do you want to tell those group of people?
Basically, there is no start or end time for anything, especially for fitness, especially to take care of your body, right? So whichever age group you're in, it doesn't matter how old you are, or how much you've worked out before, or in what state you are in. You just have to start doing something. You need to first realize whether you want to take care of yourself so that the quality of your life gets better as you age. Do you want to be independent, or do you want to be dependent on somebody? Do you want to lead a respectable, like a life towards the end? Then you will need to prioritize your health and start. So it doesn't matter which age group you're in. I've had a 65-year-old lady who came just to say that one of the airlines buses have really a very tall step, two step. You don't have like a step that helps you to step onto the taller
Yeah.
one. So she said, I want to be able to step on that because the airlines is not fixing the step. I want to be able to do it. It hurts when it's a great goal. She's 65 and she need not start with weight training because she wants to be able to do that. And she actually managed to do it. She came back and said, it didn't hurt. So it's
Yes.
a great way to start, and you don't need to be having greater goals, but your daily activities will get better, and you won't enjoy yourself too easily, and you will not find any discomfort in doing your daily chores. So you just have to think of starting. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Absolutely right. I mean, we talked about bone health. We did not hit upon arthritis, like the
Yeah,
knee pains and the low back pains,
yeah.
and most people, oh, my knee is hurting, so I'm going to walk less. My back is aching, and therefore I'm going to sit more. While the only remedy for all that is strength training
Moving,
and
yeah.
yes, it's a lot of times I try to tell people, like, if your bones are hurting, then you're putting so much stress on the bones, and you need to get the muscles around that joint so much more
Strong.
stronger that the shift of weight or the most of the work is done by the muscles rather than by the bones. I mean, I'm sure you've had stories apart from your 65-year-old where osteoarthritis got better, or they delayed their knee replacement surgery or something like that, right?
Yes. I wouldn't say delayed. I've actually been avoided having a knee replacement.
Even
So
better.
that's something that's not just one case. There have been several cases of knee issues, practically everything, because they come with an ACL tear or some patellofemoral issue, something. But what happens is most of the time when we work on strengthening in the different angles of your knee, everything gets sorted. And doctors also usually they say like, I think this is it. You need to kind of replace. And I always ask them to give me a chance. I'd be like, give me one chance. We'll work on this, and then you can do whatever with your knee. And they have actually avoided cases like that. They have
That's
avoided,
awesome.
having anything done to their knee, and which is brilliant because those girls don't have to go through months of recovery. Instead, they just strengthen their knee with just workouts.
Yes, absolutely.
But it takes both of us to work, like as in the clients have to agree. Most clients are afraid when doctors say, I think knee is not really doing well, you may have to go in for a procedure. But there's just a very few who'll trust and go and try this with trainers. So there are only about 3-4 cases that have actually avoided. The rest have gone ahead and done it, which I couldn't avoid.
See, but the funny part is, right, even if you have your knee replaced, the post operatively, you still have to do intensive rehab
Exactly,
to,
yes.
and it is as painful or even more painful.
It's more painful actually. You might as
And
well work on just working on the current pain than going through a fast severe pain after
yes.
surgery.
Yes. I mean, there are obviously medical necessities where, knee replacement or a joint replacement is the cure. Okay. But giving exercise a good shot, like a 3 to 6 months of intense, like 4 to 5 times a week, even might be, it's so complimentary. It's so complimentary. And I think, I injured my hip, and I was really worried that it was so, I was limping for almost 6 to 7 months, and I really was uh, so desperate for help, so desperate, and steroid injections, and obviously steroid injections
Hmm.
into the hip
Yeah,
is not benign because you're kind of disrupting the sterile space and stuff like that. And finally, I met a personal trainer, and oh my God, she changed my life, and she changed everything for me. So yeah, like seeking and help, and
yeah,
because surgery is a cure, is definitely an option, but again, it comes with its own set of baggage of other
yeah.
problems as well. Like, so, there's another very, I hope that misconception is gone, but let's just address it. Some women fear strength training because they think they're going to get super bulky like the men. What do you have to say to them?
I guess that myth still exists because I still have women asking me the same question as to like, it's not like they pick up heavier weights, okay? They'll just take a very small weight like a 2.5 and they'll be worried that they'll bulk like men. My answer to them is I wish I was able to bulk, or I wish I was able to like get chiseled like the men. It's very hard for us because practically we have only 10% of the testosterone that men have, and they have more testosterone. Naturally, they will be able to bulk, and bulking and cutting both require certain supplementation also if you require to look a certain way. So naturally, women do not bulk just by lifting weights. We actually shred weight because that's the only way you can shred your body fat, the subcutaneous fat. So that I think it will take a little more time for women to understand, because what they see on social media is kind of different, right? They look at aesthetic women and
Yeah.
they think, oh, they look a little bulky. They don't see normal women as influencers. They look at shredded women as influencers, and they still believe that, okay, I don't want to be exactly like that. I just want to lose weight. So their
Oh
only
my
mindset
God.
is losing weight and nothing else. So that is probably the reason why. But I still get that question, and I explain to them patiently, because I've even heard it from a doctor, which is quite appalling.
Hilarious,
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion. Oh my God, I would do anything. So, I think the problem here, or the issue, like when you were talking, it's just women are too focused on a number on the scale
yes,
rather than their clothing size or rather than their muscle body composition. I think we have to shift this conversation from number on the scale to body mass composition and fat percentage, body fat percentage and body muscle percentage. So like, so while there are no norms, it all depends on the size in general of body fat percentage in the 20s is very acceptable as a healthy range for women, and less than even in the teens, in the like less than 20 is a great range for men. But to get to less than 30 fat percentage is so hard. It is not
yeah,
easy, and for that you have to build up your muscle. I mean, it's not like when you replace fat, you just replace, when you lose fat, you just lose fat. You have to replace fat with something else. And ideally, you want it to be muscle. And that muscle is metabolism. Muscle,
yeah,
the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn throughout the day, more cognition you have also. So I think, we really have to shift this conversation from a number on the scale, looking thin versus feeling
yeah.
great and feeling strong. I think that's when this whole muscle building, bulky myth will go away. It's pretty annoying. And I even look at some of the women right now. There are so many doctors, and I feel, oh God, I haven't reached there yet, but hopefully sometime in my life, so shredded. So, and it all comes to time and effort also, right? How much time
Yes.
they have and how much their time they put in. So Shiva, I think this is a great time for you, if you wouldn't mind sharing your story where you got chiseled and you pretty much had this Christmas tree appearance in your back, which I
Yes.
picture, that's my favorite picture. Can you talk about that journey? What did it take? How long did it take? What was your plan?
That was like a 6 month project, RC. Basically, I was still in my 40s, right? Early 40s.
Early
So
40s.
I wanted to do that to see how my body reacts, and also be like an example to others, saying that, whatever age you're in, you'll probably be able to do it. So I would surprise myself at that time. When I started, so it's the same thing, strength training. We started with absolute strength, lots of heavy weights, lesser reps, and then moved on towards then a lot of hypertrophy. So a lot of reps, lesser or heavier weights depending on the intensity. That's 6 months, okay? But food was the one that killed me, because the calorie went deficit really low. So we started, I think,
Okay.
with 2000 calories, and then it went on the last week before the shoot. I think I had only 800 calories, and even in that, the protein content was more. So I
Yes.
literally had boiled fish and lots of nuts for fat. So I had lots of fat and lots of basa fish, which with no salt, nothing. So it was like that. So my mood was mad, and I literally wanted to finish my shoot and get over with it. I don't know what was happening to my back, or what was happening to my biceps. I just wanted to finish, but at the end of it, it was all worth it, because I was really surprised with the way my body reacted, and my body fat percentage came down to like really less. It was
Yes.
about 15 to 18. It was really less, and it was good. I didn't get the perfect abs, but I still had some abs. I had a little bit of flab. I still had abs. I didn't take any external inducement, any supplements. So the only thing
Okay.
I'd taken was whey and creatine and
Mm-hmm.
glutamine. So these are the
Okay.
three things I took, and that's it. So it was a very hard journey, and 6 months was quite long. And I had to stick to the plan. And I actually, in between, thought I can't do this because my mood was becoming really bad. But the workouts were okay. The food, nutrition part is quite
Nutrition
hard.
part.
Yeah. So, but it was worth it. I can still say that that's me. You can,
Oh my
I
God.
can still take a look at my pictures and say, yeah, that's me. Yeah.
That was, I would love to share those pictures because those were beautiful pictures. And we were all in our 40s and we were like, what is going on? It was beautiful. It was really beautiful.
Yes.
I specifically love the picture where you're holding to the bar and you're just
Yes. I
flexing and
remember that.
all your the small muscles of the back were popping. That is hard. I mean, getting your biceps to
Yes.
pop, your quads to pop is a little bit easier because they are big muscles, but getting the small muscles of your back to pop was just beautiful.
Yeah.
So congratulations. I think
Thank
you
you,
should always be
Arasi.
proud of that.
Yes.
Because mental strength, at the end of it, it requires mental strength. But the thing, for something as extreme as that was an extreme phase, it's a short-term phase, etc., requires a lot of mental strength. But let's talk about day to day. People are busy, like I am busy, everyone is busy. What practical tips would you suggest for women, caregivers, mothers, to incorporate some sort of me time in the form of exercise or strength training?
So first, I feel like women should start to prioritize. We always put others first. So all the women I meet, except for the younger girls, they always put their family first. Like I have to cook, I have to take care of this person, I have to take care of that person. So their timing through the day is fixated around other people's needs and not their own needs. So I'd say women should
Well
start to
said.
prioritize first. As in, illness is not something that's cool. So the moment you fall sick, you realize that the household has just come to a standstill and nothing goes around in the house. Not just for the house sake, your own work you just cannot do. So first you should start to prioritize to understand that your health is important. Not just for long term, but just every day. You need to be healthy to get up and do what you're doing. First is that. Secondly, choose an activity that you like to do. Any activity, swimming, dancing, Zumba, a little bit of strength training, walking, jogging, running, whatever. You need to pick something that you like and you know you'll stick to it. If you feel you want to have a partner or a friend, pick a place where you have someone to do any activity with. So that way you'll be a little bit more consistent in what you're doing. Thirdly, you have to work your time around that 1 hour that you've chosen for yourself. You can't keep messing that hour around. Say you want to go for swimming at 6 a.m., that 6 a.m. is for you. You can't swap that 6 a.m. to evening 6 a.m. For example, if you have an important meeting at work, you're not going to move the work meeting to
Meeting.
some other time just because you want to go have coffee somewhere, right? You will stick to that meeting. So your health, the priority you give to your health has to be that strong. So that's very important. And then finally, you need to stay consistent to what you believe in and what you want to do. You need to believe in yourself first and just stay consistent, start slow, and keep doing what you can do. And then you'll see results in several other ways, not just numbers, in several other ways. Your clothes start fitting better, your mood starts getting better, then you're more productive during the day, and you tend to like enjoy life better that way just because you have that 1 hour for yourself.
Yes. It's so important that we forget the sense of empowerment a person gets when they have done that workout that they have promised
Yes.
themselves. That, oh, I've actually stood up for myself and I have given myself this workout. And when I started this whole fitness journey, it was again when I hit 40. That's when I started. And for the first almost 8 weeks, nothing moved on the scale. It was the most frustrating thing ever. And every day, I still, even now in my bathroom, I have like a whiteboard calendar. And every morning I'll write down my weight and this 8 weeks. And I would take a picture there and 8 weeks, nothing moved. And I was like, no, just stick to it. Just stick to it. Because in my mind, I can't do anything more or anything different than what I was doing with the capacity and the time limitations and everything I had. right? So I was working out maybe 3 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week. That's all I could do. My nutrition was on point. I did start on a low carb journey because insulin resistance is very high. But for 8 weeks, nothing happened. But after 1 week, the first week was really hard. I was like, what you said, the moods were crazy the first week. But after the first week, I had this burst of energy, and I don't know where that came from. I think my metabolism shifted from burning glucose to burning fats. I had this clarity, which I did not think I would ever, because when you hear other people say, I was like, wow, what are these people smoking? Nothing like that ever
Exaggeration.
happens. Yeah, like they're just like, but then I just kept quiet because I was like, I wasn't sure whether, the placebo effect or whatever, but I kept going. And then my fellows started like, Dr. Maran, what's going on? Are you taking something? Are you on Adderall? Why are you so hyper? You are so productive. You're like meeting all the deadlines. You're calling us out on all our, research paper, etc. What's going on? Tell us that. Then I was like, guys, I'm even scared to talk about it because I'm afraid if I talk about it, this effect is going to go away. I'm like actually working out and I'm actually eating better. And that happened way before the scale started changing or something like that. So every body is so different, every human being is so different. So focusing on non-scale victories in the short term and focusing on strength and more non-scale gains might be the best way to hold on to the resolution. Because January all gym memberships are hiked up. There's all these like, and then by March there are discounts on the gym membership because they want to keep you.
Please join.
Oh, please join. Here's the, get a partner, etc. It's really important to have non-scale victories as your gains, at least in the short run. And another important thing I'm sure you've noticed as well is, signing up for events. I found that to be motivational as well. I signed up for a 5K. I did not run my 5K. I walked, speed walked my 5K. And partner sports, right? Showing up. You will never disappoint a partner. Like you'll never disappoint a work colleague for a tennis game or something like that too. And partner workouts has actually, showed to improve life expectancy because it's the socialization of things as well. So do
that
you
really
have
is true. It's very true because for me, I feel like I run small group sessions, which are like about 4 to 5 people in a batch. And I feel they kind of inspire each other and they do really well.
Yeah.
So I usually talk people out of even one-on-ones and put them in groups because looking at another person work out and then you have your own smaller goals of she's planned for 30 seconds. Let me try to, up my game. So
Yes.
it really helps to, it's not competitive. It's, even if it is, it's not a bad
It's a healthy
competition, but I
competition.
think it's a good way to progress.
Yes, yes. That's so true, right? Humans by nature, we are social animals, and it is better for us to, see somebody else and, play with someone or have that very healthy, like, let's do it together kind of a situation also.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I literally, obviously, almost every patient's like, what can I do? What can I do? And I said, find a walking buddy, find a partner, find someone, talk to someone, or build that relationship. If you're so lonely in your life, obviously my patients are older, they're in the 60s and 70s and stuff like that. So loneliness is a big problem in that age group. So I was like, seek out your community. Is there a church? Is there, is there a golf game, or is there is there a library close by? Find and reach out. Hey, I want to go on a walk. Do you want to come? Start the conversation. And sometimes starting that conversation can be very difficult as well as, but it's
Takes time,
extremely
right?
beneficial. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I'm sure, have you seen relationships grow? Like, have there been best friends groups created with your partner workouts and things like that?
Groups, yes. Best friends, I don't know, but I've got like some very good friends as clients. But clients themselves, they kind of really, I have a lot of challenges going on, and so I throw in some challenges on and off, so
Okay.
they're always on their toes. Something right now I'm doing like a clean eating challenge before, like that goes on until December 30th. So nobody is weighing themselves. Everybody's kept a dress they want to wear. Some I know a dress that they can't fit into, and we're just working on. There's nothing strict, but it just helps them. Like they ask for recipes from each other, and then
Sure.
they discuss a lot of things. So it's like a nice community where everybody is talking to everybody, sharing stuff, and so the entire environment is really nice.
Yes.
So they all look forward to coming.
So tell me about these challenges. I have seen on social media that you put on these 21-day challenges, and give me a few examples of your previous or future challenges people can look forward
The
to.
21-day challenge happens every month. So that's like a group I form on Telegram or WhatsApp, and I give them everyday workouts along with a generic diet, and I kind of personally manage the group. So now the other meal planning group that I have is for my studio clients plus their friends. So it's just a small thing that I'm doing for their friends, and then so every day I check their meal plates, and then I'll adjust
They take
something in
pictures
that.
and send it to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I initially said I'll do for 2 days, and they're like, no, we want to see everybody's plate. And they all are really good. Okay, they all come up with such creative dishes. Now we have everyday pictures. And also I have little challenges. Like, so I asked them to come up with one high protein veg meal, Indian meal. So I
That
split
is
them
a
into
challenge.
2 groups. Yeah, within the 2 groups. And they actually came up with such interesting dishes. So it's nice, and simple stuff like one dinner plate could be just. So tomorrow's challenge is that clear soup plus one source of protein, at least 100 grams, and one portion of boiled or cooked veg. So no complex carbs. So I'd ask them to plan something around that. So if it's tomorrow night's dinner, then I tell them a day ahead, and then tomorrow I'll check who all complied with that, and I'll score them accordingly. So they all are getting marks.
Oh, okay. So there's a winner in the game as well.
They'll get something at the end of it, apart from wearing the dress they love.
True. That's a really nice way to motivate people to the small things. All right. Sheba, I think we're coming close to the end of our conversation here. You said it before. Maybe you can break it down. 5 actionable steps everyone can think of taking in the beginning of the new year. What would they be?
Yeah, just as I said, it's almost like summarizing what I said, is first to prioritize health, because at the end of the day, we've all seen COVID. We've all seen the repercussions of what happened. So now you can't take your health for granted. And with the yearly flu, you know that there's a lot of mutation happening, and your body is reacting differently to every mutation. So you better take your health seriously, prioritize. So that's your first point. Secondly, choose any activity that you like. It doesn't matter what. Just make sure you like it, because you can't choose something and just abandon it the next day. So choose something that you like, work with friends, whatever, but choose something that you like. Thirdly, start slow. You need to start slow. Don't just rush into something and go crazy over it. So start slow. Fourthly, arrange a time for yourself and don't shift it. So you work your day around the time that you've set for yourself. That's very important. That's basically the third point. Going slow is the fourth. Third is prioritizing the time. So if you kept 7 a.m., your day revolves around the 7 a.m. and not the other way around. And finally, just stay true to yourself and stay consistent. After all, you have one body and one life. So give yourself the best. That's all.
Shiva, very, very well said. And, thank you so much. It has been such an interesting conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, here you've heard it all. Prioritize yourself. Focus on, set your time and stick to that time. Show up for yourself and pick small goals. Pick enjoyable goals and stay consistent with these small goals. So with that, Shiva, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Arasi, for having me. Yeah, thank you, and wish you a very happy new year.
Thank you so much for listening. If you found us valuable, you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast app. And also, please consider leaving us a rating or a review, as that helps others find the podcast too. I hope you have a great week ahead.